Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kyla and I'm so excited to have you join us today. This particular video is going to be a little educational, a little entertaining, and overall very interesting. So you guys voted on my Instagram story, and this actually came in second. So it is going to be about how I, a legally blind student, got through the 12 years of regular schooling and my 2.5 years of college to get my degree. Now, the usual disclaimer, I have all 3 pets. They're in the room, so if you hear or see them, they say hello. You guys, trying to film this video, this is like take number 84 or something. I could be exaggerating, but I honestly don't think I am. So hopefully this is the last one and we will get through this. Alright, so we're going to begin in my preschooling days, so like 2001, Anyway, so long time ago. My parents chose to send me and then my brother to a hands-on school. They thought obviously that since my vision wasn't the greatest, the hands-on would be better, which I went there for my 2 years of preschool, 1 year of kindergarten, and 1 year of first grade. Then I transferred to a smaller school. It was by our house, and it was a much smaller environment, and it had like the public school setting with the classroom and everything. From there, I was only there through 2nd grade, and then I went to the school district that I graduated from 3rd all the way to my senior year of high school. And then after that, I did go straight to college. I lived on campus. I was there for 2.5 years and got my communications degree. So, how did I do it? Well, I still don't know, so I can't really tell you. There's no secret magical thing that made me do it. Just a couple of these unique tools and people that helped me get through it. I chose to be a sighted reader. Because I do have enough vision to where I can read size, like 12-point font. No, I don't like to, but I can. My contrast is a big thing for me. The best contrast you can give a person with any type of visual impairment is white background, black ink. That is 100%. Black on white is the best. Now, I remember the first thing I remember using that was different than everybody else was, my preschool days. My VI teacher, wonderful lady, by the way, I was with her all the way through, I think, either my 2nd year of preschool or my year of kindergarten, all the way up until I graduated. So she introduced me to this paper. It was lined paper, but the lines were darker and they were raised so that, you could feel, if you had less vision than me, you could feel when you were crossing down or over into the next line. So that was the first different thing I remember using. I did have a fair share of little handheld magnifiers. I had a tiny handheld telescope at one point that would help me, see at a distance, and the magnifiers were obviously for up close. I did have a Braille writer. I could write and read Braille. I have not touched any type of Braille, and I can't even tell you how long, but there was a point where I wrote it and I read it, like, it became second nature to me. So I had a Braille writer, and I had a couple Braille books that I would read, but it just became to the point where I chose to be a sighted reader, like I said. One thing that was with me for a really long time, I think up until high school maybe, was the closed circuit TV. Now it's abbreviated the CCTV, and it's literally, it was huge. It was a TV screen, and then underneath you had a tray, and that's when you put what you were trying to read on it. So then you would move the tray around, or you could change the contrast, or zoom in or zoom out, or whatever. And I had it on like this little cart, and I would, elementary school was easy because you were in one classroom, and then in middle school, I would, if I needed it for a different class than the room it was in, I would just like wheel it to class beforehand and set it down there. But all the students thought it was like the coolest thing ever, and they all wanted to like put their hands under it and everything, which I did too. It was really cool to see like they're self-magnified. It was interesting. So the CCTV was, it was a good thing to have for a while, but my best friend all throughout school, I think I got it in 4th grade, were my telescope glasses, and I still have them to this day. They are, regular glasses, but they have little telescopes in the lens, so instead of, holding up a telescope, if you're trying to, like, look at the board and write something down and holding up a telescope, it's just no. So the telescope glasses, like I said, they have telescopes in the lenses, and I had those from 4th grade all the way until I even took them to college with me for some stuff. So yes, the telescope glasses, really amazing. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, okay, so I had the CCTV for, close-up stuff, I had the telescope glasses for distance, but where did I sit in the classroom? In the public school setting, when I entered 3rd grade, I had to sit, my preferred location was front and center, so the front row, center of the classroom, I could sit right on the right side of the front row or the left side. I could, but the preferred was obviously the center. Now, we had brown chalkboards. And now remember, terrible contrast. So what my fabulous VI teacher did was she would bring in this whiteboard that would go over the brown chalkboard, and then she supplied the markers, and I preferred that they write in black, obviously, but we had like the red and the blue markers and stuff like that. That was totally okay. But another thing that helped me was when teachers, you would come into class and they'd have a bunch of stuff on the board, and then they're like, okay, copy this down, and they're talking about it and stuff. A thing that I really, really liked was when they pointed to what they were talking about, because you take somebody who has low vision and then you show them this big board of like words and sometimes pictures, and they're like, okay, where do I look without, trying to like get a headache? So it was really helpful when they pointed to what they were talking about. Now, basically, okay, so front row, telescope glasses, CCTV, all right. Now we're up to 7th grade. And I think 7th grade is where we started enlarging my books and my papers. They were like 600 pages. Winter is drinking, so if you can hear that, I apologize. They were like 600 to 800 pages, and so I needed them enlarged because the font was like 12-point font. And like I said, I can read it, but I don't like to, because it strains my eyes. So we were able to get them enlarged, but now here's the problem. Well, it wasn't really a problem, it was more of just an inconvenience. You would enlarge this book, okay, and then it would be so big that it would have to be broken up into different volumes. So this only happened like once a year, but there would be that point where we're in the middle of a story or a unit, and one half is in like volume A, and the other half is in volume B, so I would have to sit with 2 books open if we're going like from page to page, But that, like I said, only happened once a year. And we did the enlarged books things for quite a while. But that was one way I got my textbooks, and obviously my copies of the worksheets and everything were enlarged as well. Now, 7th and 8th grade math class, I think mainly 7th grade. I don't really have a memory of using it in 8th grade, but this is where technology comes more into play. I had the telescope glasses still and everything, but we had this laptop, and it had this program on it where you'd connect it to this camera, so it was like an arm with a camera, and you could rotate it. And so I'd hook that up and point the camera at the board, and it was so much easier to copy down all the math notes, because here we're talking where math gets into like formulas and everything that I do not like. So if you know me, you know I hate math. Always have. Sorry to all you lovely math lovers out there, but no thank you. So that was a cool thing I used, I think maybe 1 or 2 years. Okay, so now let's jump to high school. Basically, nothing really changed my freshman year. I still had the enlarged papers, the enlarged books. That is where I believe we started with some teachers giving me a hard copy of the notes. Sophomore, junior, and senior year, I got my iPad, and my iPad saved my life, kind of, because it had this app that my VI teacher had found where you could download some, not all, but some textbooks, and you could make the font as large as you wanted to. It had the audio feature, so it could read it to you. That was really, really cool. And instead of me having to lug around, giant books, I just had the little tiny iPad and my telescope glasses, and that's what I took everywhere with me to class. The one thing I did not mention yet is ZoomText. Now, if you are not familiar with that, so basically it is this fantastic program that you download it and it zooms in your screen. My favorite thing about it is that it takes your little tiny white mouse that every computer has and it turns it into this big giant green mouse. Now, I'm not a fan of the color green, but let me tell you, it comes in handy when you open Google. Yeah, you open Google Chrome and it comes up to the Google homepage and most of that background is white and you're trying to find your mouse. It's very nice when it's a big green blob. So it also does have the audio feature, which I never used. I used it one day because I didn't know it was a thing and it had been installed on a different computer and it was not disabled, so I didn't know why ZoomText was talking to me. It was actually very annoying for me. Now those of you who do use the audio feature or use JAWS or something like that, you are fantastic because I could not, that bothered me so much. But I think it's more because I chose to be a sighted reader and read things for myself. Now I'm a big fan of audiobooks, so I listen to people read because other people can read faster than I can. So yes, ZoomText, definitely incredible program, absolutely loved it. Alright, so I graduated and then I went to college, which, like I said, I lived on campus for 2 of those 2.5 years. I had 3 roommates each year. Winter and I lived there, and I went for my communications degree. Now, the things I used in college really were just my laptop with ZoomText, I think my telescope glasses a couple times, and then my last year I was getting acquainted with the eSight. So I used that a couple times. But basically in college, it was to the point where everything was so, there was so much technology. So my college had this website you would go to, and then each class you were enrolled in had its own homepage, and then the teachers would put up your worksheets there, and then you would print them off or fill them out and turn them in that way. So I would just have my professors email me the notes, or the PowerPoints or something, and that way it'd be right there in front of me. I'd either highlight or copy it as well while they were giving the lecture. And I think that was really the only accommodation I needed in college was just sending me the notes. And then I graduated with my degree in 2017, I want to say. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, let's see. Okay, I'm going to do a separate video on me in what were they called? Your extra classes. So me in gym, or how I took art or wood shop and stuff. So I'm putting that in a separate video, so don't you worry about that. So I hope this wasn't too long, but like I said, I filmed it multiple times. I hope I wasn't rambling because that's what I do. Thank you guys all so much for listening. I hope these tips and tools and some of my experiences helped you guys out, or it helped you as a parent. Let me know in the comments down below, and if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and you should tap that really cool notification bell to get notified whenever I post videos. My social medias are linked down below, and for my viewers who cannot see, my Instagram and Twitter are at ksues97, and then my email is ksuesmill@yahoo.com. Thank you guys all so much again. Have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys all in my next video. Bye, everybody.